scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle, Matt, Dave, the Superplex Brothers.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the third live podcast for the Superplex Bros. I am Matt, and joined with me, as always, is Dave.
Yo, yo, yo.
And we actually have compared to last week especially, a massive show.
Yeah, we do.
Quite a few topics to cover. So let's jump right in. We're going to waste no time. I guess this first story, to some people, we might, trigger them nearly by bringing him up in the first place. But we have to acknowledge it because we are the Superplex Bros. Wrestling is a part of where we come from as a group, as a brand. So a legend, whether you want to admit that he is one or not, passed away yesterday, was it?
It was yesterday, yeah.
It was yesterday. So, Jimmy Snuka, Superfly. He has, he's gone. He's dead. Stomach cancer, which was terminal, did end up killing him. And, you know, this is a touchy subject, I feel. I mean, like, it's never good when someone dies like that, the stomach cancer, especially someone with, you know, such a big part of wrestling's lineage. However, you have to acknowledge that as a human being, Jimmy Snuka he was a garbage person.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you know, the murder case was never was never given the justice it deserved. He managed to get away twice. But I think we're in no position to really talk about that because, one, we didn't look at the evidence of the case or anything like that. At this point, he wasn't proven guilty in a court of law, so I feel like it's not really my place to put judgment on him like that. But that said, we are wrestling fans, so we can at least talk about him in terms of his career. And I think in terms of his career, you have to acknowledge he was a major part of the business, especially in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, definitely the 80s. I mean, of course, you have to think about the iconic splash from the top of the cell.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys...
Not the cell.
Yeah, the cage. But a lot of guys, you know, were inspired by that. I mean, most notably Mick Foley, who his story is well known at this point. He snuck out of his house to go to the Coliseum to see this match. And, you know, I mean, as far as Jimmy Snuka goes, he's one of those guys where, I hate to say this, but he was kind of overrated in terms of his longevity. Like, he had a couple of moments that were really good, but otherwise he was fairly average. But you got to remember at the time, back in the 80s, gimmick was everything. And he was a character that a lot of people remembered. He was this, you know, Hawaiian kind of savage, you know. And at the time, a lot of people remembered it. He was kind of goofy, but, you know, he could be scary if he needed to be. Because you got to remember, Jimmy Snuka wasn't always a face. He was like a monster heel at one point.
Yeah.
And... you know, people are going to remember him. And the only thing, of course, is I think Jimmy Snuka went way too far into his career. Like, he was wrestling into the 90s, and even by then he looked 100.
Yeah, he was one of those wrestlers who did not age well.
Not at all.
Yeah. I mean, he was simply, his body was beaten up, and he just happened to look old, which made everything look worse.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel bad for his family. I think Tamina took it obviously the hardest because it's her father. Did you see the picture of her holding his hand as he died?
No, because I don't like to look at things like that because it'll make me sad.
Yeah, it was like a close. It was just a close up of the hands touching, but that was posted on the internet.
I guess that
Some would
explains
say
why she hasn't been around, because if he was in that, he was in that bad shape.
Well, I also think part of the reason she wasn't around too was because of the case being prominent.
Yeah.
But
well, she was hurt for a while.
She was, yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like if your father is on trial for murder, they kind of don't want you around as a bad image.
And in a way, you probably don't want to be on TV anyway, especially with in a live crowd. You honestly don't know what the fuck is gonna happen out there.
Jimmy killed her.
Yeah. Oh, imagine. That'd be like a Chicago chant. They'd be that scummy.
Oh my god. Yeah, they would. It would probably be like Jimmy killed her or Snuka hate crime or some shit like that.
Snuka did it.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be some shit like that. And a lot of people are, of course, saying good riddance to bad rubbish to Jimmy. And again, personally speaking, I feel like I'm in no place to really judge because I don't know all of the details and I wasn't there, in the courthouse or whatever. I wasn't there to look at the evidence or anything like that. So it's not really up to me to be the one to judge. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe now that he's dead, something might come to light. I don't know. But it is what it is, and Jimmy is a legend that is now gone. Another list among the big names. But honestly, I'm not as emotionally taken aback like I was with, say, like a Dusty Rhodes or a Randy Savage or even Roddy Piper.
He wasn't that big.
Yeah. He wasn't huge, but he was like in the 80s, especially like once Hogan started rising, he was one of those guys that was kind of like in Hogan's posse.
Yeah.
Not as notable as somebody like Brutus Beefcake, who was basically had his head halfway up Hogan's ass throughout most of his career.
Right.
But, he was a friend of Hogan's. So, that came with perks. And again, he was an attraction. He was an attraction for a long time. So it sucks, for his family. It sucks for his family, but it is what it is. I'm not, like I said, I'm not emotionally taken aback by this. But it had to be acknowledged.
Yeah. So, and speaking of things that have to be acknowledged, that's going to bring us into our next segment where I have no choice but to take a deep breath, swallow, and just say fuck, because the Dallas Cowboys lost to the Green Bay Packers and probably one of the best playoff games I have ever seen in my entire life. And I've seen a fair amount. I mean, I'm only 22, but I've seen a fair amount of playoff games. It was
a good one.
It was a thriller. And, I hate to be that guy, but there were a couple questionable calls by the refs both in the first half and the second half. Specifically, the ones I want to talk about are was this unsportsmanlike conduct they said Bryce Butler got in the huddle, but in the replay it showed him turning around before getting in the huddle and leaving the field, which I don't know how the fuck that's a penalty. That's a simple human mistake. Whatever. The fact is, if that is going to be a penalty, why the fuck is that 15 yards?
There were a lot of really shitty plays called that night. And honestly, some not as egregious as others, but still pretty bad.
There was one where the Cowboy tore off Devontae Adams' fucking shoulder pad.
Yeah, that was one of the ones.
Holding?
That's one of the ones I was definitely thinking of. I was going to say, it wasn't just the Cowboys that got the brunt of the bad calls. Green Bay got some as well.
Well, let's be honest. The ones that the Dallas got screwed on were game-changing penalties.
Yeah.
That penalty on that Green Bay drive, I'm pretty sure they scored on that drive regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. The interception one was a pretty bad call as well.
Yeah, that ball was not catchable. Yes, he interfered with him. Antonio Brown interfered with him, but again, he's a rookie. But at the same time, that ball, Ty Montgomery could not have caught that ball. It was uncatchable. That was an interception.
Yeah, I you know what I hate though? I hate the fact that like all the sportscasters everywhere like had their heads so far up Aaron Rodgers' ass. They were just like, this is why Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. The dude is a massive douche, and just it was unbearable. And they just every little thing they did, they acted like it was the fucking second coming of Jesus.
And then, barely acknowledged Dak Prescott when he came back from an 18-point deficit.
Yeah, against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they don't want to fucking talk about that. Dak Prescott went 302 yards for 3 touchdowns, a passer rating of 103. He only had 1 pick, and that pick was just literally that the Packers defensive guy broke through too fast. There's nothing Dak could have done on that play.
Yeah.
But, how we just talking about, the great Aaron Rodgers, and everyone, of course, because it's the Dallas Cowboys, everyone online with their memes, and they're like, ha, fuck Cowboys, after, because they had to wait, 17 weeks to say, ha, fuck the Cowboys, because we went 13-3? Now,
don't get me wrong here. I'm not a Cowboys supporter. I think everybody knows that. But I don't like Green Bay. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. But if there's anything to take away from this game, and I'm saying this as somebody who hates the fucking Cowboys, but I think this is a pretty good litmus test that they got a bright future. I mean, it's the rookie year of Dak Prescott and a lot of these other guys, and they made it to the playoffs. And they lost to Aaron Rodgers, which is not something to be terribly ashamed of, in one of the closest games in the playoffs, arguably in the last few years. And they got a lot to be proud of. I think that there's nothing to be ashamed of with this loss. I think that they got a bright future with these young guys. I wish my Giants would get some fucking young guys and get rid of Eli shits the bed Manning, but.
Well, apparently, I'd say I see the Giants drafting a quarterback.
We need one so fucking bad. Eli hasn't been good for the last 3 years. He really has not.
We talked about this last week. I won't make a quick note of it here. They made the playoffs this year because of their defense. Yeah,
their defense carried them. And it got to a point where you could tell in the Green Bay game that the defense was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Our offense ain't carrying its own weight. Why the fuck should we?
Yeah. And, Dallas got picked apart by Aaron Rodgers in the first half, but, no one went into this game saying Dallas had a great defense, because we don't. We have a defense that is good enough to hold off people sometimes, and they did that a lot in the second half. But I just want to say, the last thing I'm going to say about this game is Aaron Rodgers is the luckiest fucking man on the planet, because that last throw that he made to Cook that was apparently in bounds, I'm not sure. The whole catch rule thing bugs me, because it's weird how, if a knee hits the ground in the midfield, that's an incomplete pass. But if their entire body, aside from their feet, are out of bounds, that's a catch.
Yeah, I mean, his feet were definitely in, but
barely.
At the same time,
the rest of his body was gone.
At the same time, it was like a tightrope walk for him, and I think the whole catch rule needs to be changed. I think a lot of rules in football need to be changed. The unsportsmanlike conduct has to be fucking altered to the point where it's no longer the same rule.
Well, I would say if you want to keep that rule. And, there's a lot of reasons you could argue to keep that rule, because look at our Pokemon League, right?
Well, when I say unsportsmanlike conduct, I mean shit like, I don't think dancing in the end zone is worth a fucking penalty. I don't think, I think unsportsmanlike conduct should be things where it's
fighting,
fist fighting, intentionally fighting, intentionally trying to hurt another player. Stuff like that should be unsportsmanlike conduct. Like, for example, with the Giants, when Odell Beckham fucking rammed that dude's head last year. That's unsportsmanlike conduct. But I don't think celebrating in the end zone is unsportsmanlike conduct. Hell, I don't even think yelling, like just getting mad is unsportsmanlike conduct. I think when you physically touch another player in a means to hurt them or demean them or something like that's unsportsmanlike conduct. But I don't think I think the rule in and of itself definitely needs to be changed. And I also think if they're going to keep it as is, the penalties need to be way less severe.
15 yards is too much.
Yes, absolutely. 5 yards at most.
5 yards at most, and I'm going to say this as well. Holding needs to go down to 5 yards. Holding is not that big of a deal. It's really not.
Holding is honestly just a smart move.
Yeah.
When you think about it. Like, in what way does it make sense to let the guy just go?
Yeah. It dials it back and, you have to redo the play, but, it shouldn't bring it back 10 yards. And
yeah, it's one of those rules, like in baseball, because I don't know if you know this, for the longest time in baseball, like in the early stages, a curveball was considered cheating.
Really?
Yeah, like in the early days of baseball, we're talking like 1800s into the early 1900s, a curveball was considered cheating. It was considered unsportsmanlike.
Wow.
Yeah, and I feel like these kind of rules are in that same kind of thing where they're outdated. They're just a relic of an older time period.
Yeah. So again, it's tough for me to sit here and of course I went into work and everyone questioned me about the game, and there are some guys who watched the game just because they knew that I was following it so hard. The best way I can describe it is when they made that last field goal on the second attempt, my heart broke. It's the only way to describe it. We had a stellar year. I do think the Dallas Cowboys will make it to the playoffs again next year, only because our team is really fucking good. All we need is a couple big defensive names, and we're good to go. Our offense is rolling. We should probably consider getting another tight end because Jason Witten's career is definitely in its twilight stages. But with Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, our offensive line is also young. Des Bryant's young. Cole Beasley is young. Terrence Williams is young. Bryce Butler is young. We have a young, talented offense.
I feel like if you took the offense of the Cowboys and combined it with the defense of the Giants, you would see
a team that will surpass the 90s Cowboys.
You would have a pretty damn near unstoppable team.
But alas, that is it. So now we're not done talking about football. I probably for this week we are. I suppose we should probably make quick championship match predictions before we move on. So the NFC Championship, Packers at Falcons. I'm not just saying this because they beat us, but I do. If the Falcons can do what they did to Seattle, to Green Bay, there will be no stopping Matt Ryan. And Matt Ryan and the Falcons will steamroll over Green Bay and end their season.
See, it's funny because as good as the Falcons are, I feel like this is true. Not only is it true during an actual game, but if you let Green Bay get any momentum, it's hard to stop them.
Well, you saw what it took for Dallas. He was rolling, but it wasn't until he threw that interception that he was off rhythm after that for the rest of the game.
Yeah. I feel like if Green Bay has this momentum, it's going to be hard for Atlanta to stop them as much as I want them to. I'm honestly hoping to see Atlanta win, but I just have a feeling that we might see Green Bay in the Super Bowl, which is going to really suck.
Which brings us to the other championship game, the AFC Championship. The Steelers and the Patriots. God damn, I hate both these teams.
Patriots
are fucking winning. Steelers got to this game by kicking field goals. They did not score a single touchdown on the Chiefs. You gotta do better than that to beat Tom Brady, and if that's what they've got to show us, the Patriots will have no problem, and we'll be looking at the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Oh God! Another fucking Green Bay Patriots Super Bowl. Oh my God! Could you fucking? You can hear it now. The fucking masturbation that they'll be doing in the fucking broadcast booth. Oh my God! Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Oh my God!
Yeah, it's gonna be gross.
It's gonna be nasty. It's gonna be awful. It's gonna be fucking. I'm not looking forward to it. Fuck both of them. Fuck both teams. Fuck Belichick. Fuck Belichick. I hate him. What a bunch of fucking cocksuckers.
Alrighty.
The whole fucking lot of them.
Alrighty. So, reaching about the midway point of our discussions here. So, let's take a brief moment to talk about something that happened after last week's show. There's a video up on it on Dave's YouTube channel, and I'll have one up on mine soon enough. But we were doing a giveaway, monthly giveaways at least for the first few months of the year. We're gonna see how they go, and so far they're going really well. We are doing a giveaway of Starbound, which if you're watching the live stream, stick around for after the show. We're going to have like a good 15-20 minute recess, but then we are live streaming Starbound right here on YouTube. So yeah, make sure you stick around for that if you're on the live stream. If you're on SoundCloud, you can watch the archive on youtube.com/RMGMDPunk, because that's still my YouTube URL. So there are a few ways to win this. All of it is hosted through Gleam, and you can find the link on our Facebook page. You can find the link, and Dave will probably post it in the stream chat from time to time when we're doing it. But basically, there are 4 ways to enter: 2 mandatory, 2 optional. So, first is the easy one. It's worth 1 entry. Visit our Facebook page. Literally follow the link through Gleam. It'll go up the Superplex Bros page on Facebook. You have the option to like it if you would prefer to do so. We would love you to. Well, you can just close the tab. Boom, 1 entry, done. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. So the second mandatory way, and the way that gives you 3 entries, is to follow us on SoundCloud. If you don't have an account, make one. It takes like 3 seconds. It's free, no charge to you, and you get 3 entries and a much bigger chance at winning Starbound. And then after that, you unlock 2 optional entries, one of which is to be subscribed to my YouTube channel, and the other of which is to be subscribed to Dave's YouTube channel. So if you do all 4 of those things, you get 6 entries. That's crazy. 6 entries, chance to win the game. Of course, if you already have the game, please do not enter. We're only trying to give it to someone who's never played it before, because we recently started playing it, and we like it a lot more now than we used to. It's become a really good game. Basically, Terraria meets No Man's Sky, except take out the crappy parts of No Man's Sky. That's probably the best way to describe it. But of course, if you're watching the live stream, you know, you'll get to see gameplay of it live today. So.
Exactly. I mean, you know, I said this last time, we talked about this too during the Nintendo Switch reveal, but it's really not that hard to get a chance to win this game, and you only get a boon from it because, 1, you get, of course, the chance to win the game. 2, you get to subscribe to our SoundCloud, which I do upload the podcast there in pretty damn good quality, with a couple of exceptions due to some technical issues, but I digress. You know, it's not that hard, and it's for so little effort. You get a game for free. I mean, it's really not that hard. It's a good deal.
Yeah, it's a great deal. And next, we're already kind of planning our next giveaway for February. This giveaway ends on January 31st. So please, 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 please enter before then. If you try and message us on the 1st when we do the drawing, sorry, it's too late. It's simply
no bueno.
It's too late. So you have until the 31st. Link it to your friends. You know, free games, guys. Who doesn't like free games?
Free shit is always good shit. Am I right?
Hey. So that's going to lead us into our next subject, which, of course, it's time to talk about Dragon Ball Super. This week's episode was episode 74. It was the continuation / conclusion of our Great Saiyaman arc, and basically featured Gohan as Great Saiyaman facing off against this Wadagash creature who possessed Barry Khan. Which, it's surreal to think that we watched an episode where we saw Gohan as the Great Saiyaman fighting against the guy that Boo impersonated for like 3 seconds.
Yeah. But I thought it was a cool episode.
I thought it was a good episode. This is probably one of my favorite mini arcs that we've had so far. The hit one was just a bait and switch. We knew it was going to be a bait and switch anyway, but it was more of a bait and switch than I could have ever anticipated.
I would say that yes, this would technically qualify as filler, but it's good filler.
It's also it's filler. I'd say it's just cooldown.
Yeah, that works too. One of my favorite aspects about this episode, and it's not necessarily a big one, but have you noticed throughout all of Dragon Ball Super, Videl had no character, and now they actually fucking gave her some?
Yeah, basically, they even tried to explain why she had no character.
She was just a wife.
She was just trying to make sure that Pan didn't see her upset.
Yeah. And throughout all of Super, she was mostly just...
Yeah, we just thought she was useless.
She was Gohan's wife, that was it.
Yeah.
Now, we saw shades of her, kind of her old, defiant personality. When Barry Khan comes in with those risque photos of Gohan and the teen idol, she rips it up and, she calls out the bullshit for what it is. And I thought that was pretty cool.
I love that moment because, like, when, the idol chick kissed Gohan, I actually got really mad. I was like, why the fuck? Why? First off, I know it's Gohan and he's basically, like, smart Goku, so...
He's smart but naive.
Yeah. But he still should have had the wherewithal to push her away.
Yeah, he definitely should have. He just kind of stood there like an idiot. I was like, oh.
His face got red, his eyes got wide. I guess on the right side, Gohan's a player. He'll get the ladies if he wants.
Yeah, except this lady is underage.
Is she?
She's a teen idol. She's like 16. I mean, Japan, but still.
I would assume she's at least 18.
It'd be nice, but again, Japan.
I'm trying to be optimistic. Let me be optimistic.
Nippon!
But I guess maybe it's different because she tried to kiss him and not the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a kiss, It wasn't like she did anything else.
Yeah, she didn't.
I mean, it's still a kid's show. To a point.
Yeah.
So.
But I thought the animation was actually decent in here. I really feel like, though, Gohan... We're starting to see flashes of Gohan getting back to form. Now, he still had to use Super Saiyan, which I have mixed feelings on.
Yes and no. I mean, they can always justify it by saying, the more negative a person is, the stronger Wadagash gets, which is what they said, in the episode. That the more of a negative personality that they have, the stronger it becomes.
Well, I meant the more the fact that he still has to use Super Saiyan. He can't go Mystic anymore.
Well, yeah. He can't unlock his full potential.
Yeah. Which hopefully the Universal Survival arc will get us closer back to that Gohan.
I feel like we're not going to see that form unless they do like Elder Kai has to do it again.
Which wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, because remember, all he did was unlock his potential at that point. If Gohan doesn't keep it up, it's back to where it was.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I'd rather not go that route, but
I feel like that's what's going to happen. Hopefully they do it off screen. If they have to do it.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like, let's say for example, it's like the time of the tournament or whatever, or even if we don't even know if it's an actual tournament. It could end up being something completely different.
I I'd say it's some kind of tournament-like event.
It's probably going to be like an event, but it might not be like a traditional one-on-one tournament kind of deal.
I'd say it's
you know what I mean?
Going to be some team battle thing.
But it could be something like, oh, Gohan's missing, and he suddenly comes back and is now considered an actual entrant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That could be what happens. Who knows?
Yeah, but there's not much else to really say about this episode. Next week is starting an arc that I was really interested in when reading the spoilers. Which, by spoilers we mean simply just an episode description before it airs. That's announced in Jump Magazine. So, I guess it's not a huge spoiler, but for many arcs like this, it's not a huge spoiler. But, it looks like we're getting the Goku and Krillin training arc, which is fucking great because, like, Krillin has done fuck all in Super, even though he's still the strongest Earthling.
He only took part in the Resurrection F fight, and that was it.
Yeah, that's
and even then
he did that in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, first off, I love that throwback to Dragon Ball. But even still, hopefully this means bigger things for Krillin. I mean, he always has gotten the shaft, especially later on in Dragon Ball Z, where, like, after the Android saga, they were like, you know what, we're not even going to try with Krillin anymore.
Yeah. They wifed him up, and they were like, Krillin's arc is done.
Yep, pretty much.
Which sucks for Krillin, but, and Krillin fans.
I just feel like, I think with human characters, they really just give Earthlings the shaft so much. Because it's like, oh, Saiyans are cooler, so let's have Saiyans do shit. And, at least Piccolo, even though they kind of gave him the shaft in the later end of Dragon Ball, or Dragon Ball Z, at the very least, he's a green alien, so he still has that cool factor going for him. Krillin's just kind of a bald Earthling.
That's all.
It's like, who gives a shit? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like he's just a bald Earthling, but he doesn't even have 3 eyes.
Yeah.
So.
Which is crazy to me that Krillin's considered strongest Earthling because Tien.
You would think it would be Tien, but no.
It would be Tien. Definitely.
I think. Well, you gotta remember too. It was that time period on Namek where Guru gave him his power up. That I think put him over. Yeah,
but even so, in the actual Cell Saga, Tien had his fucking moment.
You know what? Does any one person say that Krillin is definitely the strongest? Is it Toriyama that says it?
Well, I'm not sure if Toriyama himself has said it. I'd have to do some digging on that. But I know for a fact that in the upcoming, like the description for the Universal Survival arc, when they go over the team, they call Krillin the strongest Earthling.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird. I feel like Tien should have that title.
But I'm pretty sure the games have referred to Krillin as the strongest Earthling before as well.
Yeah. Well, the only thing is, because Tien has shown more effort than Krillin has. Like, when he not only held down Cell, but you gotta remember, he also stood up to Boo. And not just Boo, but Boo in his most powerful form.
It was
outside.
It was Ultimate Gohan absorbed, wasn't it?
No. It was the Gotenks one. So second most powerful. Second most powerful.
Because Buhan was the strongest form. Kid Buu was weaker than Buhan by a significant margin.
Yeah, but Tien stood up to him. I mean, he didn't fare well, but he was able to deflect his blast.
Yeah. But, so I guess that'll do it for Dragon Ball discussion for this week. Next is a topic you wanted to bring up, so I will let you lead into it.
Alright, so...
Well, actually, this and our final big talk kind of go hand in hand. Just throwing that out there before we start.
So, before we... this past week, we had the big Nintendo Switch conference reveal. And... before we talk about the actual conference and give our thoughts, I just wanted to talk about something that's been kind of noticeable, especially in the last couple of years. It's cynicism in gaming. A lot of people are just like not even giving anything a chance. And it's starting to get really annoying where it's like, oh, the Switch? Let's point out all the problems. Let's point out all these things that are horrible. Some of the things I've seen have been some of the dumbest shit.
It's not even nitpicky. It's worse than nitpicky.
It's not even nitpicky. It's flat out wrong.
Yeah, they'll just make up shit and present it as fact.
It's objectively wrong. It's shit like one of the big ones is people complaining about the lack of backwards compatibility on the Switch. You have to be fucking retarded I'm not even gonna fucking hide it. You have to be some kind of fucking retarded to think that this thing was gonna get backwards compatibility. First off, if you thought it was gonna be backwards compatible with the Wii U games were discs. These things are gonna be cartridges.
Yeah. If anything, if you want to complain about any kind of backwards compatibility, you should say, why can't we play 3DS games on it? Because they're at least the same format.
I can tell you why. Because 2 screens are on a 3DS. This thing is 1 screen. It wouldn't work. So, regardless, yes, the 3DS has the same kind of cartridge format. But regardless, it still wouldn't work. And, Jesus H. Christ, you have to be a special kind of stupid to really think, oh man, this thing doesn't have backwards compatibility. I'm not happy about it.
Also, let's also think about this, right? How many games from the Wii U would you really be able to play? Mario Kart 8, well, that's coming to the Switch. Hyrule Warriors, matter of time, I think, before that appears on the Switch. Let's see, Smash Bros. Definitely only a matter of time before that gets ported to the Switch. That's it. Because guess what? The only other Wii U game that was going to be big, Breath of the Wild, is going to be on the Switch.
I mean, Jesus H. Christ, people.
I guess Pokken Tournament, but I see that going to the Switch as well, because with how many characters the arcade version is getting in Japan, we're getting a sequel in the West. But
the fact that it's a completely different format means, obviously, you weren't getting to play those particular games on there unless they ported them. Right. And chances are they're going to port their best-selling games.
Which is why Mario Kart 8 is going up there. And Ben mentioned Splatoon, but you know, Splatoon's getting a game on the Switch.
I mean,
which he does acknowledge. Never mind. All right, that's fine.
On the plus side, not everything is horrible. The people who actually got to experience the Switch, like played it for a little bit, they actually said it was pretty good.
One game which is getting a lot of positive feedback that I wasn't expecting to was ARMS.
Yes,
I've heard
actually.
Nothing but good things about ARMS.
Yes, actually. I just watched before we did this show, Pro Jared, who is a relatively big name, YouTuber. He's one of those the boots guys, like with JonTron and all them, normal boots.
Yeah.
He was at the New York event, and he said that ARMS was not only a really good game, but it's way deeper than the presentation actually showed. And he showed a little bit of himself playing the game, and you can pull off like these insane combos and shit.
It's apparently a legitimate fighting game.
Yeah,
like,
it's a legit fighting game, which I think is pretty cool. One comment I did see.
The name could use some work, but I digress on that.
I mean, a name is a name, Yeah, they could have picked a better name, but at the end of the day, I guess they decided let's just go with the most blatantly obvious choice. But honestly, though, I think give shit a chance. And that's really the message I'm trying to give here. Give this a chance. And obviously if it sucks, it sucks. But I've seen people already saying, well, Nintendo lost me when the Wii came out, so I'm not even going to give this a try. Fuck off.
You're part of the problem.
You're part of the problem. Now, I can understand being skeptical enough to say, I'm not going to buy this on launch day. That's fine. But to just say altogether that you're not going to give the console a chance at all before people even get a chance to experience it proper, that's just not right.
There's also people who are going nuts about the fact that we don't have a full launch lineup announced. When, if you look at the Wii U's launch lineup, it was different by territory, and this is looking to be kind of a similar deal.
Pro Jared's video covered that too. And honestly, the Wii U or the Wii U, the fucking Switch does have a launch lineup. It's just not all big games.
Yeah, and you know what? The big game they have on there, you could laugh and go, "Well, that's also on the Wii U." Ha 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 ha. But for everyone who didn't get a Wii U, or everyone who doesn't play their Wii U, to them, Breath of the Wild on the Switch is all they needed.
Yeah. I'll put Pro Jared's video in the show notes since I mentioned it quite a bit. But honestly, I recommend giving it a watch because I think he actually makes a lot of great points. Is this a system that you should probably buy on day one? He says only if you want to get Zelda. Then yeah, day one. But you don't need to have a huge lineup day one. It's okay to have one big game on day one and then have a bunch of smaller games.
And you know what? Yeah. I think that's a better approach, honestly, because then you can have other games come out in like a trickle in the months after. Like
look at it this way.
Summer, right? By the time everyone's done with Breath of the Wild, you got Splatoon 2. By the time everyone's done with all of that, you've got Super Mario Odyssey in the fall and the winter.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it this way, the Switch doesn't come out until March 3rd. I think the next big release is, April? So that's only a month.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, it's going right into summer, and then, now the question is whether or not delays come into a factor, which I guess then you could argue might be a problem. Believe it or not, some people are already assuming there might be delays on Odyssey only because Galaxy had a shit ton of delays. But I wouldn't go that far yet. Anything is possible, but just for the love of God, give shit a fucking chance before you just immediately condemn it.
Yeah. So that's been kind of like, basically, as you've noticed if you've been listening properly, we've also been kind of like shooting in all the stuff about the Nintendo Switch. We did a live reaction to that, which you can listen to on SoundCloud. I had to take it down from YouTube because Nintendo came after it because it had a mirrored video feed for the guys watching with us. So it was a matter of time before they came after it anyway, so I went ahead and deleted that. So you can listen to it on SoundCloud. The best way to view it is after a certain stage. We even count down to when the show starts on there. When the show starts, watch along with us.
Yeah, that is definitely the best way to watch it. And, you know, honestly, now that we've had a week to kind of think over, you know, the Switch, I'm optimistic. In fact, I'm even more optimistic than I was after watching it.
I have pre-ordered a Nintendo Switch and a copy of Breath of the Wild.
I knew you would, and well, you told me you were going to. But, yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't know if I'm not gonna pre-order it, just because, for me, like, I like Zelda to a point, but it's not enough for me to sell the console. I'm gonna wait on it at least a month, you know, before I go out of my way to get the thing, especially since too, I have to save money. So that's a big thing. But like I said, I'm very optimistic.
I'm mostly paying it off because I'm going to trade in my Wii U and my Wii U library for it.
Yeah, I don't have a Wii U to trade in, so.
Yeah. And apparently, they haven't announced the exact deals in Ireland yet, but in America, you were getting like $190 for a Wii U, like credit-wise.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, that's pretty fucking solid. That's over half the fucking price.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited for the Nintendo Switch. I'm super pumped for Breath of the Wild. That trailer, I mean, I was already sold on the game, but man, that trailer, it blew me away.
Speaking of that trailer, I don't know how much you pay attention to like the video game cover scene at all of people covering video game music, but people are already covering the song from that fucking trailer.
It's a really good song.
People are already doing their own covers of it. One channel in particular I saw that did it was Shady Cicada, which they do like hard rock remixes, and yeah, people are already clinging to this song, and I think that's a pretty cool thing. You know, it's definitely a sign of huge interest in this game. Not that there wouldn't be. It's fucking Zelda. I mean, a Zelda game is pretty much a license to print money. Even the ones that aren't as good as some of the other ones, you generally are going to see a lot of people buying it.
Yeah. Now, in regards to the Switch and YouTube and whatnot, I'm getting it. If it doesn't have HDCP protection, which the Wii U didn't, so I don't see this one having it, I will do a live stream on launch day. However, don't expect that to be archived because I know it will get flagged.
Yeah, I would say Nintendo is probably among the worst when it comes to their games. Like, I did an update video a few months ago, and I had probably like 10 seconds of the original Super Mario Brothers immediately fucking copyright.
Yeah, they picked up on it, man.
Yeah, they pick up on everything. And it's to a point where it's actually a pain in the ass to cover Nintendo games. Like, I'm surprised that my Pokemon Crystal run isn't getting flagged to hell.
Yeah, it's really surprising.
I think because it's a randomized hack. It's basically a hack.
But the gameplay is still the same. The game is still the game.
Yeah, but maybe that distinction is just enough to save it.
Or you're just getting really lucky.
That's probably what it is.
I'm kind of I hate to be that guy, but I'm kind of leaning towards that.
Because, well, I only say that because my channel has a really bad history with Nintendo. Really bad history. Like my entire Super Mario World playthrough, I can't monetize because Nintendo claimed like every episode.
Yeah, that was one of your better ones.
Yeah, and that really sucks. But honestly, I'm thinking of revisiting a lot of those games anyway, just because I feel like I can do better now than I did then. But that's a completely different discussion for another day.
Yeah.
That said, obviously Zelda is the big hype game going into launch, but me personally, I am so hyped for Super Mario Odyssey. That game looks fucking amazing.
It looks like a more condensed version of Galaxy.
But that's fine. It looks like it looks like it takes the good stuff from the most recent Super Mario 3D games.
Yeah.
And then you add like a sandbox environment like Super Mario 64, and I'm fucking sold. Super Mario 64 is one of my favorite Mario games. So I'm fucking down.
Right. Alright, so I guess at this stage, is there anything else that we need to cover this week?
I don't think so. I think we're actually pretty good.
Yeah, alright, so that is probably going to wrap up this edition of the Superplex Boys podcast. Of course, follow us on Facebook for, again, so far, pretty much the day before the show, we'll let you guys know if we're going live, which gives, I think, plenty of time. Because, like, we talk about when we're going to do one, and we pick a day, but it's usually not set in stone until the day before, because we'd rather not announce something and then have to, like, backpedal out of it because something comes up for either of us.
Yeah, definitely. Things can happen, that's why we don't ever have a set schedule, but
it's honestly been a coincidence that the past 2 episodes have been able to take place on a Monday.
Yeah, that honestly is just pure coincidence. But, like Matt said, we try to do our best to make sure that you guys know when we're going to be doing this ahead of time. So, obviously, it's just something to just keep an ear out.
Yep, and of course, once again, I'm going to do a quick plug for the giveaway. Make sure you enter on Gleams. 4 ways to win. 6 entries, free copy of Starbound. With that said, those of you on the live stream, make sure you stick around because within the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes max, we will be live streaming Starbound co-op gameplay. Don't miss that. It's going to be fun. Probably going to be funny because we're just going to fucking bullshit. But yeah, so stick around for that afterwards. But as for the podcast, on behalf of Dave and myself, thanks for watching / listening. We will see you guys next time. And until next time, take care.